Hello my fellow degenerates. If you're new to this channel, you might not know that one of the first videos I ever made, the Shadowbringer Power Leveling Guide, kind of blew up back in 2021 and kickstarted my whole content creation hobby. I haven't made any FF14 guides in a while, but I was recently working on an updated version for the Endwalker leveling experience. I'm not sure if I'll release that video in this patch cycle, as I'm kind of waiting for the next deep dungeon to come out. It'll most likely be the most efficient way of leveling from 81 to 90 if POTD and Heaven and High are anything to go by. Working on that particular video though made me remember something. A lost, elegant technology. A relic of ancient Realm Reborn times. A combination of a recent design change, a potential design oversight, and the most cursed job in the game, Blue Mage. The tech I'm about to teach you is so fucking cursed, I would be genuinely surprised if any of you actually ended up using it. But hey, it's kind of funny, and it might help someone out, so let's get into it. To give you a brief outline of how I arrived at this tech, if you look at my leveling guide from back then, I had substantial complaints that levels 61 to 71 are the absolute worst part of the leveling grind. They're slow, you don't really have anything to do other than grinding out dungeons or spamming Heaven and High. It's pretty bad. In search of a method to make the section go by faster, I searched high and low, and eventually an idea was given to me. Like with my previous blue video, one of my longtime viewers, Jed Erickson, he shared this cursed technology with me. I'm not sure where he got it from. I don't actually know if there's a video on YouTube already explaining how this works, but I'll proceed regardless. To do this, you need a few things to prepare. You need to have a person that's getting power leveled, and they need to be equipped with all of the regular XP gain items that you can think of. The FC buff or squadron manual, the food buff, Menfina's earrings, these are the most common ones. If you have the road to 70 or road to 80 buff, that will make this incredibly effective. A blue mage that's level 70 and has access to missile and the standard blue mage DPS opener spells, and at least one other friend that has a tank or a healer job at level 47 or above. It's even better if this friend also has blue mage available, as that'll make this even faster. Ninja is also a viable option here, which I'll explain in a while. We'll call this player the sacrifice. So every time I call someone a sacrifice, it's this player. You could also bring a fourth person to complete the slide party and make this even faster, but the minimum here is having 3 players, with one of them being a blue mage in the party. You may now go into my comment section and bitch and complain about not having any friends. It happened in all the other videos I made that required players to have friends to do a specific strategy. What you want to do is party up, open up Duty Finder, and select Aurum Vale. Yes, that Aurum Vale, the level 47 Sprout Killer dungeon. Open up the Duty Finder settings, enable Unrestricted Party, and enable Level Sync. Sometime in Endwalker, a change was made that all experience you gain from dungeons is given by bosses only. And it just so happens that the first boss in Aurum Vale is among the few bosses that can be killed very quickly using Missile. Also, their boss room can be reached directly from the entrance without having to clear a large mandatory pack of mobs that'll block you from progressing further into the dungeon. So, here's how it works. The sacrificial player is going to run from the entrance of Aurum Vale all the way to the first boss room. While doing this, they want to stick to the left side of the room and pull aggro on any of the trash mobs that are in the way. You do this just by running into them. You're basically acting as a tank, doing a wall-to-wall pull, kinda. The rest of the party runs in right after the sacrifice. It's important here that the person getting boosted and the blue mage do not take any aggro from the trash mobs, so don't put any healing spells on the sacrificial player or you'll pull aggro if they die. Sprint is, of course, highly recommended here. Once the sacrifice reaches the boss room, they should pull the train of mobs following them all the way to the left side of the room. If the sacrifice dies, that's okay. If the other players did their job correctly, the mobs should reset and run back to their original spawn points. While this is happening, the blue mage starts blasting the boss with Missile. The boss might dodge 1 or 2 of the casts, so you want to spam it until it hits 3 times and puts the boss at 12% HP. At this point, the other player that's getting boosted should also start attacking, and the blue mage can use their DPS opener, use Moonflute, and unload all your spells onto the boss. You can probably also use the Final Sting finisher here. I'm not quite sure what percentage the boss has to be at for it to be a kill, but just unload all your DPS here. If done correctly, the boss should die within 30 to 45 seconds of you entering the dungeon, granting everyone below max level around 35,000 experience points. This XP amount is fixed. We tested this on a level 50, 60, and 70 job, and the XP amount was always the same. This is the base amount without any of the XP bonuses applied. There's also a variation of this method I want to quickly outline, and that's abusing the fact that ninja players have their stealth ability unlocked in this level range. While it's quite a bit slower, what you can do is have your sacrificial player be a ninja, enter stealth, and walk from the entrance of the instance all the way to the boss room. They aggro the boss and start the fight, and have to survive for 15 seconds, which will allow the other players to teleport to the room. This is a slower method for obvious reasons, but it's equally hilarious. The absolute fastest way to do this is to use 3 blue mage players and 1 boosted player. With 3 blue mages you can kill the boss and leave the instance within 20 seconds of entering. Now let's do a bit of quick math. If we account for the time it takes to enter and leave the instance, you can make 35,000 XP per minute or even faster here. I had rested experience available while doing this, so I was getting 200% XP, so around 70,000 per kill. At level 49, which is what you need to unlock Aurum Vale, it takes 229,000 experience points to level up. That's 7 kills, so this can be done in 7 minutes or less, using the 3-player setup, plus a minute, to account for bad missile RNG or someone having a slower loading time. From level 47 to 50 is 732,000 experience points, which would be around 20 runs of this strat. 3 levels in 20 minutes is not bad at all, especially since it'd be even faster if you had XP bonuses. Now if we think a bit bigger, level 50 to 60 takes a total of 8 million experience points. That would be 229 runs if you're earning 35k per kill. That's just under 4 hours, which I'm moderately sure is faster than spamming regular dungeons, especially if you're solo queuing as a DPS job which has high queue times. With just Menfinus earrings, food, and an FC buff, this time gets even lower. But of course, the real question is, what about level 60 to 71? What I mentioned is the worst part of the leveling grind. Well, that's why this is a separate video instead of being part of the main guide. 60 to 71 would take 21.4 million experience points, which would translate to 612 runs if we're doing the 35,000 experience points per kill metric, which I would project to take around 10 hours to complete. Now that sounds pretty bad, but if you were to play with experience bonuses and full XP buffs, you could get this time down to like 6 hours or something, especially if you have a party full of blue mages, which will clear this in 20 seconds per run. But if you had a full light party anyway to do this with, then at level 60 and beyond, it's probably faster to just spam and speedrun dungeons back to back. But hey, maybe it's not a bad idea to use this method to get from 60 to 61 to unlock Siren Song C so you can spam the latest dungeon. Now you know everything you have to know about this cursed leveling tech. The obvious major downside here is that you could at most level 2 people at the same time doing this. Theoretically you can do 3 if your sacrificial player is also not max level. One blue mage could pretty effectively power level 3 other players from 47 to 60 in 4.5 hours. But as mentioned, if you're full pre-made anyway, it would most likely be faster to just chain speedrun regular leveling dungeons after like level 55. I did also try this tech on some other dungeons, but all the ones after Aurum Vale have some sort of gate prior to the boss that requires you to kill a bunch of mobs to get past, which will make this much slower and become much less efficient. Now, before ending this, I do want to shout out my unpaid actors, Ingvar and Hannah, for helping me get footage of this. We spent more time G-posing for a nice shot than actually testing the strat and getting footage. This involved us watching Hannah melt his GPU with reshade filters for like 30 minutes, only for me to not use any of his screenshots here, and just use this photo he took off his screen using his phone. If you found this interesting in any way, please subscribe so I can stroke my ego a little bit harder and make more dumb videos like this. If you want to hang out with the boys and chat about the game, or just meme about, G-shade drama or world first race drama and shit like that, come join my Discord server. Link is in the description below. I'll see you for my next video soon. Peace.